Hi, guys. Good evening. This is Andrew Levi on Levi's Take. So, recently there's been a lot of conversation within Kenya regarding youth participation online and engagement with social media. The thesis that a lot of politicians have presented is that young people are engaged in essentially subversive and um, derogatory behavior online, essentially insulting lots of leaders, including the president. Now, that's according to many statements that have been made, including a statement today by Isaac Maura and a statement made actually towards the end of last week by William Kabogo, who's the CS for ICT. Now, what I want to say is actually regarding the statement made by William Kabogo, CS. Now, I have a lot of respect for him, and I have to admit that I am familiar with uh, two of his sons. One of his sons, who's a namesake of mine, I knew him quite well. So, by virtue of that, I have to say that I have a lot of regard and respect for William Kaboga's intellectual capacity. I know he's someone who has actually a strong intellectual aptitude. So, why would he make the statement that he made? I think at the moment he's probably in his position to manage the politics around this whole issue. But really, my expectations of his inaugural statement as a CS for ICT were very, very different. And this is what I expected to hear. I expected to hear someone of William Kaboga's intellectual stature to be talking about the promise and the prospect of AI in Kenya. So, for example, how can we make Kenya more AI ready? How can we broaden access to the internet? How can we democratize access to internet instead of rolling back the tide of progress that's been made in that front? I expect him to talk about how we can invest in opportunities to redirect internet usage towards more productive ends. So, for example, supporting the gig economy and the creative sector, such as what I'm part of. I expect him to outline his vision and his strategy around the quantum of investment and money he'd put behind uh, that industry. I expect him to talk about how education in Kenya can be rejigged, especially the mode of delivery can be reconfigured to embrace a lot more technology and a lot more AI. I expect him to talk about how he can help Kenya gain a competitive and strategic advantage on this continent as this continent's very own silicon savannah. How we can get more Kenyan talent exported to a lot of these massive tech giants across the world. And when I say exported talent, I don't mean physically, I mean Kenyans sitting right here within their homes doing some amazing coding work for Google, for TikTok, for various other massive tech companies around the world. I expect him to also talk about how he can make this an investment haven for these tech giants. So, for example, um, major tax exemptions for some of these um, major tech players. Also, prioritizing the IT startup process in Kenya, making sure that it's very, very efficient. In fact, making sure it's probably more efficient than any other kind of startup that you can create here. So, those are some of the ideas that I expected someone of his stature to actually be putting forward, rather than focusing on trying to curtail and control the kind of content that is produced by young people. Young people will be young people, and that's something the government should understand. And that's not to say that we shouldn't be responsible, because my own personal view is to the extent that we have rights as Kenyan citizens, we also have responsibilities, and those should be attended to by every single citizen. Thanks very much. It's Levi, aka the aspiring prof.